Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Fiercely Spiritual podcast. I'm your host, Sandra Ray. I'm an author, healer, and spiritual teacher, and I'm delighted, as always, to have you join me for another episode and another new topic and another way to allow your spirituality to flourish, allow yourself to grow into the fullness of your being and allow yourself to be the full expression of your divine self. And that's what this podcast is really all about. It's about being the highest expression of yourself, the highest expression of you, and sharing that energy with the world and helping others to lift up into the highest expression of who they are and who they can be. So this week we are talking about a topic which it's often talked about, but it's probably not given enough weight, because what we tend to do is we tend to focus on our problems and we give so much weight to all the things that we don't want that we forget to focus on the things that we do want. And I know I've talked about this subject before, but I want to talk about it this week in relation to happiness and allowing happiness in your life. Because what happens is we become so focused on the problems in our life, we forget that we have to strive to be happy. And the Desiderata says this, it says, be cheerful, strive to be happy. Now, this may sound like an oxymoron. It may sound like something that you don't need to strive to do, because surely happiness is natural. It's natural to be joyful, and happiness is something you just experience. It just happens. You don't strive to be happy. That's like hard work. Happiness is something that happens when you're out socializing or when you're experiencing something that you love, some food or sport or something that you lose yourself in, some creativity or some project. And when you're not doing those things, then you feel unhappy. But that is so not true, because when you are relying on sources outside of yourself in order to make you happy, then yes, you will have to wait for those moments until you're surfing in the sea, or until you're skiing on that mountain, or until you're doing whatever it is that makes you happy. But what I want to discuss today is how to allow happiness, not just in those moments when you are doing the things that you love, that light you up, that fill you up, but in every moment of every day, allowing happiness. Now, it's not to say that you will never experience any other emotions ever again, but it's to realize that you can experience the same happiness that you experience when you're skiing up on the mountaintop, that you can experience that in an everyday moment. Maybe you're sitting having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Maybe you're just admiring the sunset. Maybe you're in the middle of making your family dinner and your kids are screaming, and you stop for a moment and you appreciate the sound of their beautiful voices, even though you'd rather they weren't screaming. But because you can hear their voices, because you can hear the sound of their voices, it means they're there. It means they have the energy to scream, that they're healthy and well. It means that they are alive and they are with you. So be cheerful, strive to be happy. And when we start focusing on happiness rather than all the things that we don't want, it becomes a priority in your life. It becomes a priority to allow happiness, to search for the happiness, to seek it out, to strive to be happy, rather than allowing yourself to fall into that trap of being caught up in all the things that are going wrong and seeing the problems and not focusing on what's going right. Because it's like we have blinders on. It's like when we are focusing on all the things that are going wrong, that is all that you will see. And it will feel like everything in your life is going wrong. But when you start to seek out the happiness, then suddenly your focus changes and you start to see the things going right. You start to focus on the things going right, and you realize actually there is so much that is going right. And maybe it's only one or two things that are going wrong, but you've been focusing on them for so long that it seems like that's all there is. This is, I'm not sure of the term exactly, but this happens, you may have noticed, if you've ever decided to buy a new car or a new house or even to buy any new object. And let's say a car, and you decide you want to buy, I don't know, a BMW. And when you're out on the street and you're seeing cars, all you will see is BMWs. All you will see is how many there are, the ones you've never noticed before, the different models, the different varieties. And if you have a specific model in mind, you'll keep seeing that one. Now, it's not that there's suddenly been a proliferation of this model of car appearing in your area or on your street or in your neighborhood. They've been there all along, they've been driving past all along, but you haven't noticed them. But suddenly now, because you're in the market of buying one, your focus is on that particular car, so you start to notice it. So there's so much in your environment that you're not noticing, that's been there all the time, but you just haven't been noticing it. And I notice this, I go the same route to my son's preschool every day. And I was doing this for a couple of years, and then one spring, I noticed that there was this beautiful tree in flower, and it's a laburnum. I don't know if you know the laburnum. It's these beautiful yellow flowers that hang down. And one day I just suddenly noticed it, and I thought, how have I never noticed this beautiful tree before? Now, granted, it doesn't always flower. It's only in springtime, but I had walked past that same spot and it stays in flower for weeks on end. And I'd done it for the previous 2 years and never noticed it. And suddenly it came to my attention. And now every spring, I am waiting for it to flower. So it is on my radar and I see it. And I actually notice all around my neighborhood, loads of other laburnum trees that are the same flower. I start spotting them, I start seeing them because I love that flower. So it's the same with happiness. When you are focused on everything that's going wrong, that's all you see, and you're blind to all the things that are going right. And it's like you don't see them. It's like they're not even there because you are not aware of them. They're always there, but your focus is on the unhappy situation. So that is all you see. And then you start getting more depressed because you think, oh, my life is going so wrong. I only have all these things that are going bad, and I don't see all the things that are going right. And it's funny because my son, who is turning 7 in a couple of months, I always say to him that what you send out comes back to you. And he helped somebody the other day, and I was praising him for helping. And I said, well done, that was great to help that person. And he said, I've been doing loads of good things. And he said, you always say what you send out comes back to you. He's like, but I don't see these things coming back to me. And I explained to him, well, it doesn't always come back in the same way that you give it out. And I said, well, look, you got this wonderful thing in school, and this other wonderful thing happened to you, and this happened to you. And I explained all the wonderful things that were going on in his life. And I was like, that's how it comes back to you. And he said, oh, okay. And he understood. But it's the same with us. We sometimes don't see those good things coming back around because we are not focused on them. We're focused on the negative things or the seemingly negative things. So what I want you to do is start becoming hyper aware of all the happy situations, all the good things that are going on. And this is how you allow happiness. You give yourself permission to be happy. And it's as simple as that. When I wake up in the morning, I say, I give myself permission to be happy today. I give myself permission to be even happier today than I was yesterday. And become aware of all those happy moments that you experience as you go about your day. and what you focus on expands. So you're going to have more happy moments. When you start focusing on them, the universe will give you more, because that is what you're focusing on, and that's what is going to expand in your life. And you're going to keep noticing more and more of these happy moments, and you're going to realize, oh, it's this simple. I just take my focus off all the things that are going wrong, and I start focusing on all the little things that are going right, no matter how small. And then the universe is going to then send me more of these things to focus on, because it's going to expand what I'm focusing on and giving appreciation for. And I'm going to get more of these happy moments. And that's how you move from being in the fear, being in the worry, to allowing happiness in your life. It's very subtle. It takes practice. It takes persistence and consistency. But if you start to believe that the universe is conspiring on your behalf, I think it's called pronoia, which is the opposite to paranoia. Paranoia, you think that something is about to go wrong at any given moment, and you're always looking for the thing that's going to go wrong. Pronoia is believing that something is going to go right, and that everything is going to fall into place, and that the universe is conspiring on your behalf. So focus on the happiness. Allow yourself to be happy. Give yourself permission to be happy. And then start noticing, being aware of all the good things that are going on in your life. And you will be astounded at how much good you have going on, and at how easy it can be to start allowing happiness into your life. So I hope this helped you. I hope that you go away and put this to practice, and let me know how you get on with it, and let me know about all the happy occasions that you start noticing. I will see you next week.